Well, let's call this meeting for the Town of Bluff City Mayor and Alderman regular meeting for Tuesday, January 5th at 6 p.m. to order. Roll call, please, Sharon.
Alderwoman Key.
Here.
Alderman Walls.
Here.
Vice Mayor Harrington.
Here.
Alderman Ward. Alderman Bowling.
Here. And at this time, Alderman Jeff Broyles will lead us in prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Jeff?
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, thank you. First of all, I ask for your forgiveness for all that we did wrong in the year of 2020. We hope that we can repair it as we move forward in 2021. Lord God, bless this town, its people, and the work that we do for it. Please continue to show us favor. We also ask, Lord, that you are with all those that are sick and afflicted in our town today, and all those affected by this situation. Lord, thank you again for grace and mercy. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now we'll move on to discussion and action with Mattern and Craig. Dave Wilson.
Thank you. Just wanted to spoken to the mayor last week, and she wanted me to come give you all an update and answer any questions on our project. So I'd like to do that. As you all are aware where we are, we received our change order 2 information from Thomas along about November the 1st. We submitted all of our final documentation to the railroad, and we have gotten their approval. Thomas came in a little bit higher than what we expected, but I have gone back to our original budget and reconciling that budget. If we were to accept their change order number 2, which I'll prepare paperwork for you all to review that.
Dave,
Yes.
would you put that microphone towards you so that it'll
Or if you
pick
want to
up
sit
there?
Is it okay if I see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Probably easier to lay it up there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you hear that any better?
Yeah, I just wanted to pick up on you.
Okay. And anyway, we had proposed in our budget for, if you all recall, for contract 3, we swapped out the work at the wastewater plant for the new pumps at the garage, for a new Railroad Street sewer replacement, and to put analyzers at each pump station so that we can get total flows. We had an estimate for that work of $376,000. Thomas came back at $429,125, which left us with a shortfall of $53,125 for that line item. And Ms. Green, the last time I talked to you and the mayor, I didn't have the total budget with me, but I had gone back to it. Within that budget, that for USDA, which I'm going to go ahead and send them this final revision for approval. We still had remaining contingency of approximately $39,835, and we also had a couple of other outstanding items, including resident inspection, that we will likely not use. When I add those back into the budget, I feel like we come out ahead. We're still ahead roughly $8,500 on our overall budget, so we'll be able to award the work and still come within our budget. I have notified Thomas Construction that they should be expecting to have our award by the 25th, and therefore put them on the clock to initiate the work and to order the pumps for the garage pump station. In that time, I hope that USDA will concur with our budget amendment, and I have no reason to believe that they won't. We have had an item, I don't know if the mayor has discussed it with you, that I would like to ask for your all's consideration, and that is when we went back to the railroad to seek their approval for doing the work within the railroad right-of-way. Of course, we paid the normal fees for that, for the permit to cross the railroad, and they have a new reviewing engineer, and they have come back and to do roughly 735 feet of a force main in the right-of-way. They've asked for what they are calling a licensing fee of $7,318. Similarly, for the work on Railroad Street, we have roughly 500 feet of sewer. They want $6,900. So those two together are approximately $14,219. And I'm really concerned about this. I know I've spoken with the mayor. She does not want, and wanted me to convey, not to let this get in the way of not moving the project forward and running a chance of losing money by wasting any more time. And I understand that, so we're going to go ahead and submit, like you all are going to remit this, and those budget numbers I quoted you before included that. So that was, counting this, we still have a positive number on our budget. But to me, long term, I'm really concerned about it because in the city you all have a considerable amount of utilities located in railroad rights of way. And Alan, Mr. Moultrie, you can attest to it. Any time now that we go back to do any types of replacements or repairs, if we do the correct thing and get permits like we're supposed to, we're going to be hit with fees like this every time. And I have contacted some other municipalities. I've only heard back from two. One has similar issues. That's the city of Newport and the city of Bristol, Virginia. I had talked to. Their project that they're working on now predated these guys being involved, but they have also had trouble with the railroad. So what I'd spoken with the mayor about, and what I'd like for y'all to consider, is that we take some kind of action, possibly to talk to other municipalities and then get in touch with our representatives to see if we can't get with the railroad and see if they'll relax these requirements or, consider the hardships of it. Because obviously if we're doing, or any time we do work where we have to have these permits, if you have that additional cost, 1,000 feet of line, paying an additional $12,000 just for a fee, I think it'll be onerous in the future. So anyway, I am waiting. I intend to gather the information from the others and then approach, at this time, Senator Lundberg to let him know that this is a situation and see if we could get any help with that or any consideration. I don't know if what may be done. It may just be that they're made aware of the hardships. But again, I would like to notify Thomas, and I will prepare the paperwork for the mayor's signature on or about January 25th, and that gives me a little more than, or right at close to 2 weeks for the USDA concurrence and approval, if that's okay.
Will the board have to have a vote on that, wouldn't it?
At this time, I don't think so, because it was a change order that we had already authorized.
Okay, already authorized.
Yeah. Okay. So now, when we go to do a final amount, there may have to be a vote. Let me check on that. I know that we had already authorized going ahead, and as long as we're remaining within the overall USDA budget, I think we've been authorized, Mr. Fry, to go ahead.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You're talking about being hit with fees. We're going to be hit with lawsuits. You said contract 3. How about the first one back here for the overflows? That hasn't been fixed yet, has it?
Yes, ma'am. We've completed the
It's
contract.
fixed?
Well, it's still going to overflow like we've talked
It's not
about.
fixed.
With the new work that we're doing, there is going to be 2 different things, actually 3 different things. Railroad Street, we're replacing another 500 feet of line. Hopefully that will help reduce the
So
flows.
we really don't know. All we're doing is investing money and giving all these thousands of dollars, and we're going to end up being hit with lawsuits.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean,
I don't know.
This has gone on for 6 years.
With this contract, though, you are going to be pulling off some of the excess from the igloo station?
Yes, we will be with the garage pump station redone. We will be relocating that to go on down Lakeview instead of the igloo. It'll be pulling off about 25 gallons per minute.
And it'll be on this side of the igloos?
That's correct.
Well, I thought when we done something once before, it's supposed to take care of that.
Well, ma'am, we can do,
No.
unless we replace every line in the city, it's not going to take care of it.
Well, then we're just throwing money out,
I don't.
And if I may, I think the situation is that it's a double-edged sword. In fixing the problem, we sealed everything up.
Yeah,
So we're
we have.
catching everything now, so we've created another problem by fixing the situation.
I think that's gone on. We've tightened the system and the flows. We are sending more likely during those peak periods to the igloo. Overall, and Ms. Green, I haven't checked with you about the overall flows, but when we last looked at it, our overall flows that we were sending to Bristol were down considerably. So it's just during those peak periods. And ma'am, I understand your concern, and I have that same concern, but I don't. I can't sit here and honestly tell you that I know what we could do to fix it. I don't think anybody, and if anybody told you that, I don't think that they would know what they're talking about, to be honest
Well,
with you.
there's got to be something that can be done, because nobody's got to live.
Well,
Contract here should.
yes, it should help it. I mean, again, I don't want to say it'll never happen. I don't know what has occurred, Mr. Moultrie. When was the last overflow, or do you recall?
I don't recall the last overflow at that location. It's been, I'd say, about,
Was it May?
it's possibly it was in May, but I don't remember the exact time frame of the last overflow.
But wasn't it an overflow in some lady's house?
That was
Well, back.
that was it.
That wasn't.
Really, it's just a trial and error anyway, isn't it? A lot of it is.
Well, yes, to the best of what we can actually design. But yes, and I think every municipality has the same issues. Again, I think if it's been since May since we've had an overflow, obviously that's been an improvement. I think before we had issues. Yes, it will. And I think, honestly, when spring comes around and we've had the winter and the high groundwater, probably from February to May would be when it may likely occur again.
How long have you been doing this
20
project here in Bluff?
Oh, this project, we've been actually looking at this since 1998, 2000, I guess, is when we started.
I know
Yeah.
the overflow's been going 6 years that I know it.
Yeah.
It's Christmas.
Well, when we first started, we had actually had about 11 overflows in a 2-year period. That was back along 2001, and we replaced the line from where the force main from the State Route 390 pump station discharges to the gravity line behind the post office. That line was replaced with a new lined line, and that gave us about another 7 years, I think. And I don't recall that we had an overflow except for a pump station malfunction in between those times. And then, of course, this started again, and obviously as the system ages and more breaks down, unless you're replacing 1/50th of it every year, I think you'll always see these problems. To try to affix blame to one person or to one administration, it's really hard.
You're saying that the board is just continuously giving out money.
Well, we
had out money and it's still not getting fixed, and it's been 1998.
Well, that's how long we've been working on the sewer issues, yes, ma'am. And I think you'll never stop working on them. We should never stop working on
Well, my concern is the citizens.
them. Yes, ma'am.
You know.
We've had, as far as, I guess, this particular project we were working on, that project that we've been working on, this same sewer problem, was funded under a different mechanism, and that has yet to be retired, or it's close to being retired. This actual project was initiated, we made 3 applications beginning in 2012, and it was finally funded in 2015. And we've made changes to it multiple times, and since that time, our overall project budget of roughly $3.7 million has stayed the same, and with the remainder of the work, it will still be within that budget. So since 2015, $3.7 million has been dedicated to fixing your water and sewer systems with this work.
And at the same time, even if you could go out there and throw in twice the size of the pumps, it'll overwhelm Bristol's pumps. So, I mean,
Yes, that was early on. We looked at increasing the pump sizes, and of course the Bristol had a real issue with that, and USDA told us they would not fund us to do that, to move the problem to Bristol. So I know hopefully if it has been since May, and with these continued improvements, and I know, Alan, you all have completed many private defect repairs, clean out caps, service line repairs. You know, those are the things we just have to keep doing from now on to try to prevent that from happening. I still know when we get, it had been rains of roughly an inch within an hour, we were seeing that problem. I think we should always monitor that. And with the monitors we will have at the pump stations through this project, we will actually be able to divide it up and look at it in smaller segments to see where the problem may be originating from to do future improvements.
Moving in the right direction.
Hope so.
Any more questions?
Dave, thanks for the brief.
Yes, sir.
Always good to see you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you.
If the stars all align and you were able to secure permits and all the approvals, what is the estimated time frame of the completion work?
I would think that we would be, it'll hinge, the actual completion of the entire project will hinge upon the pumps being ordered for the garage and installed. That's probably a 3-month period, and you probably have a week or a month of work. Hopefully all the work can be completed except for those pumps in that time, and then another month, so 4 months from that time. Yeah,
I think that's reasonable.
yeah, I would hope. And if anything is different, or if Thomas indicates anything different, I'll let the mayor know immediately.
Yeah, because these are spec'd out pumps. And
Yes.
I'm in that business, so I know we do that.
And it's a good product.
Yeah, it's a good product.
Yeah.
So, and, you know, about 90 days, 75 to 90 days is an average lead time on the
Yeah.
specification of the fund that we approve. And obviously, we're going to try to expedite those
Yeah.
in
And
any way that we possibly can. And as far as Gerald Robb and his guys, I mean, I know it'll be ready
Yeah.
when the funds arrive. So
They've been good.
I just wanted to kind of get a time frame in my mind, because we're often asked,
Yes.
you know, where we're going with this. All the engineering forms and the treatments and the letters sound great, but when we face citizens, they just want to know when it's going to be fixed and how,
Right.
and how much we're spending.
Right, I received a call last week wondering about that yard down here, and what do I
Yeah.
tell them?
I'm uncertain.
Sewage from the
Mower yard.
the mowers down here.
Mhm.
I mean, I can't just sit here like this, and none of us should be able to. And they've gone through this for 6 years. I'm here to represent the people. I stand with the people. And I don't see just giving out money until we get this down here taken care of.
Yes,
It
ma'am,
needs
I
to be
understand.
taken care of. Nobody
Thank
needs to live like that.
Eric, do you have a question for you?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Any more questions?
Thank you all.
Thank you. On to citizens' comments. How's that working? We just, if they're here,
If they're here, if there's somebody in the parking lot that wants to make a comment, then come in one at a time.
do we have any citizens out front? No. Okay. So we'll move on to discussion and action on the regular meeting for September 1st, 2020. Do I have a motion and a second?
I make a motion to approve.
I second that motion.
Vote, please.
Alderwoman Key,
Yes.
Alderman Wills,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harrington,
Yes.
Alderman Ward,
Yes.
Alderman Bowling.
Yes.
Next, regular scheduled meeting on October the 6th. Do we have a motion and a second?
Make a motion to approve.
I second that motion, please.
Vote, please, Sharon.
Alderwoman Key,
Yes.
Alderman Wills,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harrington,
Yes.
Alderman Ward,
I'm staying. I wasn't here.
Alderman Bowling.
Yes.
Next, special called meeting on October the 30th. Do we have a
Make a motion to approve.
second?
I'll second.
Vote, please, Sharon.
Alderwoman Key,
Abstain, I wasn't here.
Alderman Wills,
Abstain, I was also absent.
Vice Mayor Harrington,
Yes.
Alderman Ward,
Yes.
Alderman Bowling.
Yes.
Next is a special called meeting on December the 8th. Motion and second.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Thank you. Vote, please, Sharon.
Alderwoman Key,
Yes.
Alderman Walls,
Abstain.
Vice Mayor Harrington,
Yes.
Alderman Ward,
Yes.
Alderman Bowles.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is discussion and action on a mini excavator, and Public Works, Alan Moultrie would like, if we have any questions and what we need to do.
Good evening, Board. Happy New Year's to you all. City, right now, we're currently buying to make a purchase of a mini excavator. We went out and got 3 price quotes on these excavators. We went and got quotes from Bobcat, Kabuto, and Case. We ended up looking at the Case backhoe. It actually ended up being a better, well, I won't say a better piece of equipment, but the perks with the Case mini excavator by far outweighed the Bobcat or the Kabuto. It actually is larger in size. It's a size larger than the one we actually was looking for. They're trying to get out all of their 2020 product, and we ended up coming up on a great quote on this item. This item ended up being $43.9 versus the Kubota, which was $49.9, and it's actually a size smaller. And the Bobcat ended up coming out at $42,000 on that. And after further looking at each of these equipment, the Case was more so a heavier duty piece of equipment. And this is the equipment that we actually need in this town. Every time we've had to make any repairs around town, we've had to use the backhoe, which the backhoe is actually down. So like right now, we're actually in a compromising position. If we was to run into any issues, we're going to have to go out and rent a piece of equipment. But with the mini excavator, we'll be able to actually, instead of having to maneuver around with the backhoe, we'll actually be able to swivel 360 degrees and get our work done. We'll be able to work in more tighter, restricted areas. And we are in a situation where we have a lot of equipment that is aging that needs to be replaced. And I don't want to be coming to you all back to back to back, and that's actually what it's actually been as of late. But we do need to upgrade these equipment, and we are buying to make a purchase on one of these. But I don't know how to explain much more on this, but this is a piece of equipment that we really, really do need. And if I can get you all to see fit to make arrangements that we at least can obtain one of these equipment, that would be greatly appreciated. If there's any further details I need to go into to make you better understand what we're trying to do and what our approach is, feel free to ask any questions.
So all these are new?
All of these are brand new. All of these are 2020. The Bobcat, the Kabuto, these are their 32 series. The Case is a 37 series, which is a size up that will actually allow us a larger digging capacity. It's an 8,000-pound piece of equipment. It digs down 10 feet versus the other two only digs down 7. It's enclosed cab, heat, air. It has the front scraper. It has, sorry for all the ums and the, but it's a great piece of equipment. I mean, I have these brochures. If you all want to take a look at it, I can pass this round to get you a better understanding of this product. But this is something that actually will make our work in town a whole lot easier. And I'm just trying to see what all we can do, because this is something that we really do.
So, do you have a trailer you can haul this with?
Yes, sir.
And a truck?
Yes, sir.
If I may, do we have do we have the money for it, Sharon, or is it feasible?
Oh, yes.
And it would be a capital asset too once.
It's a capital asset. You got cash for it.
Alan, did
So
you?
that was in our budget, because I know, sorry,
Yeah, that's
I'm
still
sorry.
here.
I know when we did the budget, we only had $800 to the good. And we weren't going to spend any money, so I guess this is something kind of different, or do we have money in there for?
Yeah, this is a capital asset. You still have to appropriate the money, and then you'll have to have an ordinance for it, but it's not an expense. It's a capital asset which will be depreciated.
One of those lovely meetings we went to. I said one of them lovely meetings we went to.
Yes, right. The assets.
Well,
Alan, did you get a demo of all three
Yes,
pieces of
we
equipment?
did a demo. We actually rented the Bobcat. We actually went out to Contractor Machinery and demoed the case. We went up to Caboodle in Johnson City and tested out their equipment. After looking at them, looking at all three of them, the case was a more heavy-duty equipment. It's a 3-year warranty that would be included on that. This is equipment that we've actually been buying for the last 3 years. This is the opportunity that we have. We're at the point where our equipment at the shop is degraded and it needs to be upgraded. We have a dump truck that's at the garage that haven't left the garage in 7 years. So we do plan on putting that on dump deals along with 2 other trucks that's basically at the point that they're need to be retired out. We got a leaf truck that we use. I don't even know if the city bought it new when they got it, but I believe it's like a 93 or a 96 model.
BC2?
Huh?
BC2?
BC6.
BC6, GMC?
Yes.
Yeah, that was there when I was here.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, we bought it used.
we're operating on old equipment and we're being expected to work and make things happen with the equipment that we have. And it's proven to be rather hard at times. We ended up having a water leak out on Dry Branch. I mean, with the water, a 6-inch water line leak on Dry Branch. It ended up like we're finding situations where kickers aren't being placed in at 90 joints.
This is something that's much needed.
It's much needed. I mean, there's more needed than just this, but this would help us out significantly. And like whenever we run into issues with the actual backhoe, we don't have no alternate means of getting anything done. And this is the current situation we're in right now. So if we was to run into issues, we would have to look into it.
When will it deliver if we purchase it?
It's actually in stock, on site, current. The only thing we need to do is we can come up with a resolution to actually make this purchase. We actually can make this happen within the next couple of weeks. That's kind of.
do we need to vote on it or need to make a resolution?
Well, you can vote on it tonight, and then we can amend the budget later.
You do what?
We can amend the budget later.
We can vote on it tonight and amend the, we don't have to wait to amend the budget to do it.
Okay. Do we have a motion on the?
I got one more question.
Okay, go ahead.
So what is the weight of the Bobcat?
The ordinance.
Bobcat?
Because I know you said that the case is a bigger machine and better. It's 24 horsepower. The Bobcat's 25 horsepower.
This is 8200 pounds.
So it's virtually about the same size.
The E32 is actually smaller than the E37.
So what this says E35.
The equivalent to this would be the E35. Well, they gave us a price quote for the E35 and the E32.
Well, I've got E35 on
Yeah, I've got
mine.
E35.
Okay, well, they must gave the quote for the E35. Well, we ended up getting the price quote for the E35 and the E32.
So the E35 is equivalent to the E37?
Yes.
For the CX37 here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see any mention of warranty on Bobcat.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
We inquired. They all come with a 2-year warranty. With 1 year, they agreed that they would allow us a 3-year warranty, and I think that actually came at a cost of one was $600 and the other was $9. I can't remember the exact company which came from which.
Kubota's was
On the
$9.
Bobcat, is that a hydraulic clamp or is it a manual clamp?
It is a hydraulic.
Um,
Hydraulic.
So it's the same size, but it's cheaper, by about $2,000.
If you work with them all the time, which one would you?
I've got a Bobcat. I love it. I love my Bobcat. I've never really had a case, and I've not had a Kubota.
From what I found out, Kubota is the new company in town, and they're pretty much selling to all the municipalities, but they're not cheap.
Yeah. Kubota's a good machine. But Bobcat is,
What did you think?
I can say the Bobcat, the service.
I
Now
believe the
there's-
service in this area, because whereas this would be coming from East 10, we would have the ability to take it straight there, and the same would apply for contractor machinery. The only thing that we saw that differed from the Bobcat and the case was a whole lot more heavy duty. It just, whenever we operated it, it seemed like it responded much better than what the actual Bobcat did. But at the same time, I'm not an operator on it every day. I actually was with Scott, and they tested the equipment, so I'm not the strongest person to speak on which equipment is better.
Well, did they all three have rubber tracks? Because I see the case specifically mentions it.
They all have rubber tracks.
Okay.
And the reach.
Yes.
Oh, what was the reach on the Bobcat?
The
Because you said
reach
the
on the
case.
Bobcat, I believe, was
The 35.
The 35.
the 35. I believe that actually was a 10-foot also.
So it's comparable to the case.
The Bobcat was 11-foot reach.
On the E35.
Oh, wow.
On the
I
E35.
know that one.
Well,
I think just me, I'd steer towards the Bobcat. That's just me.
that's my preference as well. What's the pleasure of the board?
What's that?
What's the pleasure of the board? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion for the Bobcat.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Vote, please, Sharon.
Alderwoman Key,
Yes.
Alderman Wools,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harrington,
Yes.
Alderman Ward,
Yes.
Alderman Bowen.
Yes.
That's the Bobcat.
And we'll
The E35.
do an ordinance to amend the budget as soon as we get the information.
And it's the Bobcat E35 particularly. Next thing on the agenda is report from the city mayor and manager, which she is not here, so we will go to report from the city attorney, Paul Frapp.
Okay, I don't have any report except that I am working toward having a workshop on the liquor stores and liquor by the drink to redo our alcohol ordinances, a comprehensive look, and I hope to be ready to do that in this month.
Great.
And the employee handbook as well, possibly looking at it.
MTAS is working on the employment policy right now.
Good, good. And next on the agenda is report from the city recorder, Sharon.
As of November 30th, 2020, general fund, $1,762,466. Sanitation Fund, $26,990. Special Police Fund, $13,965. Debt Service Fund, $128,514. Sinking Fund, $3,094. Water Sewer Fund, $758,824. Total fund balance, $2,693,853.
Thank you, Sharon. Do we have a motion?
A question first. How much difference are they in this total was last month? You remember? You got it?
No, I don't have it in front of me. It went up some, but I can't tell you exact amount. All the general fund and water sewer both went up, but I can't tell you I don't have the other one.
Are we on track to be like where we're at with the budget, what we had in the budget? I guess we're still,
Yes.
are we doing better or?
Well, we're doing better because we've gotten in some of the grants from the COVID-19, but we don't have them all in yet. We're still waiting on one coming in.
But we didn't have the grants, we'd be worse than we would be.
Well, no, we wouldn't be worse, but we're going to be better because we're getting money in, several thousands of dollars. We've already got $66,000 that went into the water sewer, and we got I think it's $25,000 that's coming in on wages that we turned in.
We didn't have Heritage Day, and we didn't have Christmas parade,
Right.
so we should be noticeably better.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we get the money in free.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve that.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll say.
Thank you. Vote, please, Sharon.
Alderwoman Key,
Yes.
Alderman Boyles,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harrington,
Yes.
Alderman Ward,
Yes.
Alderman Bowling.
Yes.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is comments from the board members. Alderwoman Carol Keith.
I pray that everybody had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. It's good to see everybody. I thank the Lord for bringing us all through. And I do believe that this could be the best board that Bluff City's ever had. And I hope and pray that we all can work together and stand together and do what's right.
Thank you. Alderman Jeff Broyles.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Happy New Year. Good evening, town family. This kind of reflected, even in a terrible year overall, this board was able to accomplish much for the town. We have new business. We didn't have before. We have new police officers on the street. We're safer than before. We didn't get where we wanted to go, but we did make progress, even in a terrible year. And something to reflect on, has this city not been blessed? Look at our neighboring towns and the illness they suffer. It's been cascaded. Here, yes, we've had some fatalities, we've had some casualties, but this little bubble around our town and the Lord's grace has kept us safe. And I'm so thankful for that. I'm like Carol, I'm so excited for 2021. There is much to do that this board can get it done with the help of our family. I remain honored to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Alderman Eric Ward.
Yeah, hope everybody had a great Christmas and a great New Year, and staying safe and homeschooling the kids pretty much, I guess. I guess we'll see y'all next month. Hopefully.
Thank you, sir. Alderman Richard Bowling.
Yeah, I'm glad that everybody's been safe right now and staying in. And so I just want to say that I hope we can all stay together the way we're doing now and for a better city. And we are making progress, but it's kind of slow, but we're still making it. We're not going backwards.
Right.
So hope everybody had a New Year and a Merry Christmas.
Thank you, sir. Since we don't have any county commissioners, we'll go on to Chief Greg Depew, if you will. You can have a seat up here if you want.
Good evening, board, and hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I hope 2021 is the best year we've ever had as a family and personally for everybody. For the month, we answered a total of 205 calls. We issued 77 citations, 45 warnings. We drove 3,741 miles, had 25 arrests, 7 offense reports, 16 alarms, 11 accidents, a couple of animal calls, 13 MSD reports, 7 domestic calls, 1 DUI, 2 drug arrests. Going into this month, we're able to start back up with our detective that we've had in the past, and we've got that position open back up. What that does, it allows us to get more in-depth investigations and stuff on crimes and do more for the city here than have to reach out to other people. And that guy, David Caldwell, is going to be working some drug work for us too, which that helps us spend a little bit of this drug money justifying the cause of his use that happened to drug officer here. We did, unfortunately, wreck 2 cars. One was totaled, one I believe is going to be repaired. But we were fortunate and lucky. We found some cars in Chicago at Chicago Motors. They didn't come from Chicago, but they were sent there to be sold with a car lot. And we purchased a car under $15,000. It had light bars, equipment on it. The only thing we had to do is put the radio in it. We're ready to go. So we've got one of them back. The one that was total replaced, got one in the shop. So we're trying to work our way back up there. But everybody's working hard, doing good, and overall we've stayed healthy and stuff. So all you have.
How long is it going to take to get the other one fixed?
It's, the guy said probably about 6 weeks to get the parts.
6 weeks, okay.
Yeah, he told me when I talked to him, he said the holdup was the parts.
Yeah.
He said they were having a hard time getting parts on that.
We can't get garage doors, so.
Yeah, so, but no one was hurt in any accidents or any other property damage or nothing. So at least that's about that. So that's all I have. Unless y'all have any questions or anything.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job, Gary.
Next is Public Works Supervisor Alan Moultrie.
Just to give you a little status update on the sewer department. The sewer pump stations are operating well with there being no issues with the pump station. We still are in a situation where the garage pump station, it has basically deteriorated to the point where it needs to be repaired soon. That work is scheduled. The exact finish date, not sure. But one thing I want to touch on is we are continuing to see massive amounts of wet wipes. When I first started working here, I never thought wet wipes would actually be an issue. But one thing about these things, they're not like toilet paper. They do not tear up easily. They go straight through the system. We see whole sheets in the pump stations, and in totality, it's actually possibly one of the issues that are causing some of these overflows. We've been pulling these pumps more frequently as of late, and as these wet wipes get entangled around the impeller, they actually slow the efficiency of these pumps. So if we're not pulling these pumps as regularly as we're doing now, it could actually slow down the efficiency of these pumps. So I've been trying for the last couple of months to try to convey this message to the citizens that we really do need to curb the flushing of wet wipes. I know some wet wipes say they're flushable, but whether or not they're using the flushable types, we actually are seeing a major issue with it. We ended up with an issue out on Duty Drive. We had a buildup of wet wipes that actually clogged the whole entire line. And he had trouble getting through it with a janitor. We ended up having to call in Elizabeth to use their heavy equipment to actually get that removed. So if you speak to any citizens, if you could entice them or encourage them to stop flushing wet wipes, that actually would help us significantly.
Can we get a mailer? Can we get a mailer sent out for that, for everyone? That's what I thought. I had never seen it.
We've sent them out like 2 or 3 times, but we're still seeing it. In one area that I would point to would be Ridgeview Apartments. We actually on Duty Drive, this line connects to Duty Drive, and I mean, we ended up, we basically ended up in a situation where the sewer pump truck that we called out was having issues due to so much wax being caught up in his tank, and whenever he went to Beaver Creek to discharge, I mean, that's all you saw. I actually had a few pictures, but we do have an active issue, and that's something that needs to be addressed. I don't know if you all speak to other municipalities, but I mean, if you don't believe my word, what I'm saying, ask. Because, I mean, it's seriously an issue. And that's the same thing with other feminine products. Trash, you don't flush them down the toilet, but that seems like a thing that hasn't been addressed. But we're seeing it, and it's actually becoming a major issue. Because, I mean, if our pumps aren't pumping the way they need to be, these overflows may still occur. I mean, still happen, in other words.
Well, how about putting pictures on the mailer?
Yes.
I can do that. I mean, that.
Yes, since you've got pictures of
I have pictures, yes. I have. So, yeah, we need to compile that. I can get that information for you, and we can carry on with that. As in the street department, the staff has been working hard keeping up with the brush pickup all throughout town. Now that the winter season is upon us, we would like to ask the citizens that park along the roadway to make sure all vehicles are parked well off the roadway to make snow plowing and salting of streets safer for us and your property. We just recently covered the whole spill about the mini excavator, but overall, the staff, 7 guys that we have working with us, all of us have been COVID-free, and everybody's been doing what they need to be doing. We do have some projects that need to get done around town. We got a lot of paving that needs to occur. Right now, we're in a situation where asphalt plants aren't running as often as we'd like it to, but we do have a couple areas throughout town that needs to be repaved. Also, just overall, we need to look at areas that need to be paved just in general. But other than that, that's all I have at the current moment. If you have any questions for me,
Alan, thank you for your brief. How did our first round of de-icing and snow removal go for the department?
It went okay. We ran into some issues. When it came down to the speed of which we were getting it done. We only had one truck to get it done, although this town is fairly small. But as soon as they scraped and salted, it was back white. And at that current time of when it started snowing in the last snow event, it was below 32 degrees, and once it's lower than 32 degrees, that salt really doesn't work. So all we basically do is scrape. But overall, we did get complaints from Applewood Apartments, and we got a complaint at the rescue squad, of which they were, I mean, everything was pretty much iced over. I'm not going to say it's any fault to us because they did actually go out and scrape, but by the time that next moment came around, everything had iced up once again. But overall, I'd say things went well. I think it could be better, but that's just my personal opinion. But yeah, they got it done, and I'm not looking for the next snowstorm, but we'll be more than ready for the next one that comes along.
So in forecasting, and from my observation, the snow removal equipment is something we need to be looking at.
I'd say so. I mean, it's still operating. Like we just recently, I want to say 2 years ago, got a new snow plow.
That box.
We got a new box. We got a new blade placed on the actual plow itself. So I mean, it all is sufficient. We ran into issues with the salt truck, of which we ended up getting a new truck bed for that, which was a flatbed. And it's all operating. That's not the equipment that I'm concerned about. It's some of this other little stuff that's kind of pretty much at the point where, because we're constantly having trucks down, constantly fixing the same vehicles over and over and over most of these vehicles, I'd say the vehicles that I'm having issues with are around the late 90s, early 2000s. And the last truck that we got is the truck EC10 that I'm currently driving. That's probably the largest purchase that we received at the garage in quite some time, other than parts to actually make repairs throughout town. So equipment is one of those things that we really need to start investing in. It's all deteriorating.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your hard work.
All right.
Next is water plant operator Terry Banner.
Everything's been running smooth at the plant. We're trying to average 2 backwashes a month. That's what the state wants us to do, so that's what we're trying to do. Had a few shutdowns, but most of it out of our control. Either rain or a busted line somewhere made the plant shut down. We changed out 2 new taps at the plant. That right there is supposed to be all the way open, and we just got to burn a hole in it, and we put plastic in it now. This smell, that bleach corrodes everything, so we got the plastic line going through the tap, down into the pipe, plastic, so it won't corrode. I think it'll work better. So far, no maintenance on it, so it is working, and we've got actually 3 backwashes done in December. But the state's requiring us to do some new standards. We got to make our own, use our own stock, and make it by hand, everything. So I've been playing with that some. Electronics, I forgot. Electronics was here in November. I went back to October on my notes because I didn't know when the last time was either. This is a photo cell in one of our medium meters, and she had to replace it the last time she was here. That will be right there for $600. But state requires you to have it. I mean, you got to fix it because that's a big deal. It's busy. But that, and she's coming, I think, soon, actually, Alan, back to do some more calibrations and stuff.
Yeah, our next calibration is scheduled for January 27th.
Okay, 27th, okay. And that's all I've got. Any questions?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
We'll move on to old business. Do we have any old business? But do we have any new business that we'd like to entertain?
The only new business that, well, this is old though, but this is a new year, and I hope that we as a board can focus on trying to get that fixed down. You know, we might have to reevaluate or whatever. It needs to be done.
Yeah.
And you've done a good job.
Well, thank you. Any more new business? We're ready to leave.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
I second it.
Vote, please, Sheriff.
Third.
Alderwoman Keys,
Yes.
Alderman Rolls,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harrington,
No.
Who said no?
Alderman Ward,
Yes.
Right in.
Alderman Rowley.
Right.
Yes.